Waldo Politics is now live. Streaming politics. Dems and the left argue about Platner. MAGA plans to steal elections.
Oh, hi. Hello. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How's everybody doing today? I am doing great. I have just been crazy busy in real life and didn't stream this past Wednesday. Usually that's my normal stream day, Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings. But yeah, I was busy with work junk and had to do real life stuff, and it was terrible. It was awful. I hate it. But you have to sometimes. So yeah, I missed this past Wednesday, and so I didn't get to talk about all the super explosive Platner news, and so we're going to cover some of that today. And then what we're going to do is talk about what happened and stuff like that. You probably already know what happened. If you don't, I'll explain it real quick. But then we will talk about the appeal and why I liked him, why so many people liked him, and why he got so damn many votes. Is it just because Maine is blue is cold Florida? Maybe. That's part of it. But there's a reasoning behind that. There's more to it than that. And I'll talk about that. I'll explain some of that. So hop in the chat, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling, and we can discuss that here in just a bit. We'll look at it's Saturday, so I've got a handful of links, things to talk about, fun little politics stuff to look at, some funny stuff, some amazing tweets from Donald Trump, and then a few things to talk about. The lovely robot lady is on right now, so if you're typing into Twitch chat, the wonderful robot lady will read your stuff out loud. It is so much fun. Robot fun.
Robot fun.
See? Lots of fun. If it gets annoying or starts to bother me, I'll turn it off. Don't worry. And then let's see. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't get the text to speech because YouTube hates you. I'm sorry. I like you, I love you, but YouTube doesn't. I can't make it work on their platform. Then let's see. Let me get my monitoring software here up and running. Make sure everything's looking good. Everything's looking good over there. So I've got my links. I've got my stuff to talk about. Where would I start? I suppose I could start by letting you know this is kind of an adult stream, not sexy, but not a hot tub kind of way, but I'm going to talk about adult things. I'm going to talk about violent things. I'm going to talk about Platner, which has lots of adult themes, and YouTube hates that. YouTube doesn't like that. They don't like that. They have an AI that listens and records. Obviously, I'm literally uploading on their site right now every single word I say, and because of those words, I use some of them. They don't want to push my content out. They don't want people to hear what I'm talking about because they are a business intended to make money, and you make the most money by putting out videos that hit everybody and everybody wants to watch. So when I talk about left-leaning politics, a lot of people don't want to hear it, so YouTube doesn't push my ideas to them, doesn't push my videos toward them. I use naughty words sometimes. That means that they can't push that video to other people because they're worried that they will hear the naughty words and then die. I don't know. I think some people die when they hear naughty words. I'm not entirely sure why. And then there is the uglier parts of politics that I do talk about. Words that get my videos unrecommended. We're going to talk about Graham Platner. That's going to contain several ideas and words that YouTube does not like. So I need you, please, if you don't want me to start using the fake words, to spread the videos around, spread the message around, spread the idea around. Push these videos to other people. Just recommend it to literally anybody, anywhere. Press the thumbs up button. Press the subscribe button. Press say something in the comments to keep me from having to use the fake words. The fake words like unalived. If you hear other YouTubers use unalived or other streamers use the word unalived, they're doing that because YouTube hates the word suicide. They don't like that word, and they do not want their associated. They don't want you to say it on stream. Okay, so if you don't
Fuck
want
yeah,
me,
you're killing it.
thank you.
XD.
And I don't want to use the term unalived. I don't. So if you want me to keep using the actual words, or what are some of the other ones? Grape soda. This is something I see. What's his name? Kyle Kalinske do. He calls it grape soda, because that fools the YouTube algorithm AI into thinking that you're not talking about what you're talking about, and you usually are. I recognize that that's a triggering term, and I will only use it when we need to. I won't just spout it at random for no good reason. But when we're talking about it, with the Graham Platner story, we will be discussing sexual assault. We will be discussing it. We will be thinking about it. We will be talking about it. That is a part of politics. It always has been, and it always will be. So instead of using the euphemisms, using the fake terms, I'm going to keep using the regular terms, and then YouTube is going to keep suppressing me. So if you want to help me out and keep me raw, and not using words like frick, if you hate I hate even saying it. Oh, frick that guy, fudge that, or awful, horrible. I won't bow to the corporate overlords. I would rather be obscure than bow to the corporate overlords. So if you want to help me do that, share the stuff around, forward the link to a friend, tell somebody else to come watch the stream, tell somebody else to come hop in, and it'll be a good time, and we can all enjoy ourselves in our unfettered filth. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about? What are we doing? What are we thinking about today? There is a lot going on in politics today. Let's start with some of the fun stuff. Let's find the right window capture, click at a button, bam. There we go. Here's old Donnie. Here's what he's got to say. I will not sign the housing bill, which has been approved by Congress and sent to the White House in protest over the fact that the United States is not capable of passing the Save America Act, which is polling 97% with the Republican Party and very high with the non-politician Democrats. So I'm going to stop right there. Yes, 97% of the Republican Party, who are dipshits and lying, cheating grifters and hate democracy, do support the Save America Act because it is undemocratic. It is anti-democracy. It makes it harder to vote for lots of minority people, lots of women, lots of people who want to vote won't be able to because of the Save America Act. It is undemocratic, and that is why I would stand against it. But also supported by the non-politician Democrats. Okay, one, that's probably not even true. Two, even if it were, the regular Democrat people support the Save America Act. It's because you lied to them about what it does and what it is, and they're stupid. So, yes, the stupidest, most grifty, terrible people in the country support the Save America Act. He's right, I suppose. I guess Donnie's right about this one. The worst and stupidest people in the country do support passing the Save America Act. And that's not the flex that he thinks it is. He thinks he's flexing here. He thinks he's being such a badass. He's like, look at all the Republicans love it, and all of the non-political Democrats love it. Well, yeah, because they're fucking stupid, boss. You're not winning this argument here. Anyone with a bit of brain cells know that this is a bad idea. Let's continue reading, though. The act states quite simply that that to vote a person must show photo ID proof of citizenship, and there will be no more crooked, corrupt, and destabilizing mail-in ballots. All of this is a lie. The voter registration takes care of the ID. We know exactly who the people are when you do the registration. This is adding an extra step that will fuck up the people who have changed their name. Usually that's women, or fuck up the people who look brown and don't have proof of citizenship. I don't have proof of citizenship. I have a social security card, but that doesn't have a picture on it. That's not photo ID. I have a driver's license, but some immigrants can get driver's licenses too. What what we need to do is have a sort of a registration process, which is what we have. Every problem that the conservatives are complaining about with these votes are already solved, already taken care of. But they're liars, They're criminals, they're grifters, and they lie to you and tell you that millions of illegals are voting. And it's not true. There is no voter fraud in America. Sometimes there's registration fraud, but that gets caught. That's how we know it's fraud. And then those registrations get thrown out. There is no voter fraud in America. Anybody tells you that there is, they're lying. They're trying to trick you into doing something stupid. They're trying to benefit the Republican Party. They're trying to benefit the right-wing party because they can't win on their ideas alone. So they need to trick other people into doing it for them. And we continue reading. And mail-in ballots, again, mail-in ballots. This man lies in so... He throws 17 lies into a single fucking sentence. And then you have to disassemble the sentence and point out every fucking lie. And it takes such a long time. It took him less time to type this than it does for me to explain why he's a lying sack of shit. And that's how he wins. That's what wins with stupid people. A quick, convenient, short little pithy lie is way more powerful than actual reality. So, let's see what else we got. Mail-in ballots are good and right and proper and just as secure as any other ballot. The Save America Act non-passage is crazy. It's a serious threat to any politician who votes against it. How is it a threat to people who vote against it? That doesn't even make sense. I don't know what the hell he's saying. If the Democrats or any rhino or worse working with them do not allow a positive vote in the Save America, terminate the filibuster, and pass this and every other bill that true Republicans have ever dreamt of, in addition to the upcoming budget bomb and the 1929 catastrophic-style debt ceiling bill, the Democrats will terminate the filibuster. And if and when they get the chance to do so, the very first hour, and I will no longer be able to call them Democrats again. The title of the dumb will revert to the Republicans who allowed this horrible calamity to happen in our party and the nation. Oh, God, he's just fucking awful, right? He's the dumbest motherfucker ever. And so many people support him and love him because he's stupid. They like that shit. They love this style of insane rambling where you wedge 9 lies into 8 words. It's very complicated, but they do enjoy it. And then their media is not much better, because here is a Republican explaining how the government works, and the Fox News lady, who makes way more money than me, doesn't know this stuff.
Let me get your take on the 21st Century Road to Housing. It passed overwhelmingly, bipartisan support. You worked hard on that bill. What are your...
This is the bill Donnie is promising not to sign. He's not going to put his magical signature on it.
Expectations? Does this become law even though the president doesn't sign it?
Yes.
It certainly can. Article 1, Section 7 says that at midnight tonight, if the president has not signed it into law, nor has he vetoed it, then the 21st Century Road to Housing Act will become law tonight.
Now, they kind of teach you this in like 11th grade civics class. I know that was a long time ago for her and for me, but like, that's just how the system works. This isn't some trick. This isn't some new thing that Obama snuck in there in the middle of the night. That's how it works. The president can sign the thing, he can veto the thing, or he can do nothing. And if he does nothing, then it passes anyway. His signature is not magic. He thinks it's magic. That's why he's so upset when he says that Joe Biden used the he used the auto pen. He didn't even sign those things. He used the auto pen. That means it doesn't work. He didn't do the magic. The magic happens when the man with the pen puts his name magically on the piece of paper. That makes it that completes the magic spell. That completes the transmutation from idea into reality. He doesn't know, and neither does this wonderful lady on Fox News, know that you don't actually need the magical signature.
Just past midnight. It's an important bill. It's a bipartisan bill, as you note, but it unlocks the supply side to lowering the cost for constructing housing, building more housing.
He's just selling us on the idea of the bill.
And our biggest challenge is housing supply since the end of the global financial crisis. We have just not had different kinds of supply keep up with demand across the country for all kinds of housing units. And that's why this bill is needed and why it's got such strong support in both chambers.
But I don't understand how it becomes law even though the president doesn't sign it, Congressman.
She doesn't understand because she doesn't know how the government works. Why the fuck is she on the giant fucking Fox Business television show? Why the fuck does she get to be there spitting out uninformed nonsense? She's stupid. She's dumb. She doesn't know how this fucking thing works. And he has to explain it a second time.
Section 7 of the Constitution says the president has basically there are three choices when Congress passes a bill and sends it to the president's desk. He may sign it, he may veto it, or 10 days after it's transmitted to the White House, it becomes law without his signature.
There you go. That's it. Okay. Congressman, good.
She didn't know. And she's thinking about arguing with him. Look at her face back here. She's like, what? I don't think so. That's not how this works. You know, she's thinking, like, maybe I should argue with this guy. Is he full of shit? Is he saying something stupid? Is he trying to trick me? She's too dumb for her job because Republicans and conservatives hate experts. They do not want intelligent people to be in charge. They do not want people with expertise. They do not want college educated people making choices, intelligent choices about the calm and stable direction that we should go in the future. No. They don't want any of that. They need you to feel it in your gut. They need you to feel like President Trump no law can exist until the grand wizard puts his signature on the sheet of paper, on the parchment. They don't know how actual government works. They have only started paying attention. I mean, most conservatives didn't pay attention to politics before Obama, and then Trump came on board, and a lot more of them jumped on board. And they don't know what actually happened, so they don't know what actually is supposed to be going on. They don't know the history. So she's dumb, and that irritates the shit out of me, that the people on the TV are dumber than me. The people in politics are stupider than me. The politicians don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. They don't need to learn. The people who make right-wing fucking YouTube content do not know what they're saying. But because they're idiots talking to idiots, they get lots of views. They get to have an outsized voice. They get to have a giant following. They get to have sway and political power and popularity, even though they're fucking wrong, because most people like that wrongness. They enjoy all of that incorrectness.
Grok says Trump decides the law. Sue, checkmate commie.
Exactly. Grok said some shit, and so that must make it true. I asked the AIs, and they told me, and so that's real. They have outsourced their thinking to this lady. This lady thinks for a lot of conservatives. She really does. She does all the thinking for them, and she's dumb as hell. The actual politician, the actual person who understands the Constitution is the Mr. French Hill here. And nobody likes him. Nobody pays attention to him. I've never seen him before. I don't know him because he's probably just some regular, normal neocon. He's just part of the Republican Party and not screaming obscenities and not being an insane Marjorie Taylor Greene type of person. So he doesn't stand out. And he doesn't stand out because he's not a lunatic. Only lunatics get to stand the fuck out in our current landscape. Only the outstanding stand out. So if you're normal, if you're regular, if you maybe look kind of plain and don't do anything extreme, you don't stand the fuck out. Which means nobody listens to you. It's a tough road I feel bad for Mr. French Hill here. He has to explain how the actual government and Constitution works to this person who's on TV and makes more than him. I have no doubt Maria Bartiromo makes more than this fucking guy. Unless he's insider trading, which he might be, and I don't know if he is. he might make more than her, but she's also insider trading at the same time. So like, she's probably still richer than him. So that one made me smile. That one made me just go a little bit crazy and scream at my TV screen. What else do we have going on today? Yeah, let's look at this. NATO Ambassador Matthew Whitaker is talking about the Kill Trump signs that have been all over Iran.
Do you think that they have miscalculated his willingness to carry out this fight, despite the fact that we have elections coming up?
Yeah, I think they have.
Signs with a thing on his head. So, yeah, the country of Iran, not surprisingly, very unhappy with this Trump guy.
But at the same time, he's demonstrating peace through strength in action.
Peace.
My lawyer says I have no comment about those signs.
Absolutely correct, any of it. Right answer. And my lawyer also says I have no comment about these signs, other than they're funny. I get to laugh at them.
You know, by returning fire, not only a little bit, by 90 strikes.
Look at all the peace that's happening in this video. Look at the peace.
To military targets after the attacks to shipping in the Strait. It really demonstrates, I think, the United States is serious about this, and obviously Iran is trying to come back to the table and negotiate. But, you know, this is where President Trump continues to hold all the cards in this situation and will continue to come from a position of strength.
Peace bombings. We'll kill them in the name of peace. You know that the movie Suicide Squad that had Peacemaker in it? He wasn't something you're supposed to idealize. Well, his stupid line, he was played by John Cena. Very well done. Good movie. But the Peacemaker character said, I'll kill all the women and children I need to achieve peace. I love peace with all my heart, and I'll kill all the women and children I need to make it happen. You're supposed to hear that. You're supposed to see him say that and say, you're a crazy fucking person. You're missing something here. You got something incorrect up in your brain. And the Republicans, including Matt Whitaker, apparently, see that as a goal. They really do. They don't recognize the ridiculousness that they are threatening to kill people. And then those people are not happy about it. And they are also threatening to kill us back. They're not allowed to do that. Donald Trump literally assassinated their president. But they're not allowed to have this sign. No. That's violent. You see, that sign of President Trump with a target on his face is violence. But when America drops a bomb on their leader, that's peace. And you stupid fucking liberals don't know the difference, okay? They don't know how ridiculous they are. Matt Whitaker is lost in the sauce. He has Peacemaker's brain from that fucking movie. He does. He thinks that when we murder a bunch of people in a foreign country, that's peaceful. When we bomb their embassy, well, not their embassies, but their government buildings, that's just peace. When we murder their leader, that's peaceful. When we assassinate Soleimani in Iran, or he was in Iraq, but he was from Iran. He was visiting Iraq, and we assassinated him while we were at peace talks with the country of Iran. He thinks that's peace. But if they hold up a sign, this sign, with a target on Trump's head, that's war. That's violence. These people are disgusting. They will get all of us killed. They will get us all killed, which is why I don't like Republicans. I don't like them. I don't want them to win. Here we go. Here's some more from Donnie. 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at the Islamic Republic of Iran, with thousands of more to immediately follow should the Iranian government act on its threat pronounced in many corners in the globe to assassinate.
I feel like that's peacemaker slander. He does a redemption arc and becomes a good guy.
He does do a redemption arc. I have seen the second season, and it is very fun, and it is very silly. I love the redemption arc he goes through, but they're not at the redemption arc yet. When Matt Whitaker realizes the error of his ways and then goes back on all this stuff, then we can have a good redemption arc. They haven't done that yet, and I don't know that they ever will. I've been watching these warmonger Republicans say peace is strength for a very long time. They never come back around. Yes, Peacemaker was given a redemption arc, and I think it was a good time. But when they come around to it, I'll be open to it, and I'll cheer for them on the redemption arc. That'll be a good time. So what do we set? Assassinate the sitting president of the United States of America. In this case, me. The fuck? We know who you are, Donnie, okay? You don't have to remind us. Orders have already been given, and the U.S. military is ready, willing and able for a 1-year period of time, subject to extension, to completely decimate and destroy all areas of Iran. Praise be to Allah. Fucking... What? Okay. What is this 1-year period of time? What are you talking about? That if Donald Trump is assassinated, no matter who replaces him, the military has been given a 1-year kill them all and let Allah sort them out order? Is that what you're telling me? That's not a very intelligent thing to do. I don't know. It sounds fucking insane. It sounds stupid. How about they do what's best for the country, not avenge you? I'm sure he thinks that the military works for him. They don't. They actually work for the American people. You, Donald, have been elected by the American people somehow, and you're supposed to guide them, direct them, point them in directions that help the American people defend the American people, not avenge your assassination. It's fucking sick. It's gross. They love violence. They do. They love that shit. Unless it's being wielded by a left-leaning person, and then in which case violence is unacceptable, and we all know that it's unacceptable, and it's always been unacceptable. And there's no place in politics for violence when somebody assassinates a right-wing guy. There's no place in politics for violence if it's aimed at the right wing. But the right wing can aim that violence at everyone, ever, anywhere, anytime they damn well feel like it. Aim violence at the immigrants through ICE. Yeah, great. Of course we can. That's in the Constitution, if you ask a fucking Republican. Aim violence at women. Yeah, they can do that if they want to, because that's their place. Biblically, they're supposed to submit to men. That's fucking disgusting. They can aim violence at leftists if they fucking want to, saying that they're anti-American and they're communists and will force them all out of the country. It was a week ago when Donnie said he would expel all the communists. How are you going to do that? Violence is how you would do that. If it were even a thing he was actually going to do and not just a shit-talking slogan, you would have to violently kick in their doors and drag them off to a processing camp. That's why I make the joke at the end of every stream. I'll be back unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me out for the gulag. That's what I'm talking about. That violence would be necessary to get rid of these people, and that's acceptable to right-wing people because they accept violence against their enemies, and never, 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 never can you even think or show off a little bit of a photo of violence towards them. Donnie can promise millions of deaths, and that is acceptable to a Republican. The people who are marked for death cannot post up this picture. They can't. They're not allowed. That's violence. But this is just diplomacy. This is peace through strength. They will get us all killed. They will. If we continue to allow them to be an actual part of our government, an actual part of our society, we will all die. And either through war, through nuclear war, or through just fucking good old climate change. Because that's been all over the damn news recently too. The European heat waves, the insane things that are happening all over the planet, the giant monsoons, the huge storms, the heat dome that's over the east side of America right now. England's under gigantic heat waves. Thousands of people are dying in France from heat waves that the conservatives said wouldn't happen. They denied climate change for such a long time that it's their fault at this point. We have the solution to heat waves. We have the solution to global warming, global climate change, and they refuse it. Half out of profit for oil companies and half just out of spite, because they fucking hate you. They hate me. They hate solar. They just hate that shit because it's not the thing they want. They just hate it because the environmentalists said it was good. They're not allowed to do the things that the environmentalists say, because then the environmentalists would get a foot in the door if conservatives accepted the idea of building more solar panels. So Jimmy Carter put solar panels on the White House to signal to everyone, to represent the idea that we could slowly wean ourselves off of oil. And the conservatives hated that shit. They cannot let 1 foot of environmentalism in the door. They can't. Or else it would be proven correct, and then everyone would be on board with it, and then it would spiral, and it would go move upward and upward and upward and upward. It would be the camel's nose in the tent. It's an old saying about don't let your camel put his nose in the tent, because what the camel does is it just sticks just his nose under the tent, and if you don't bop his nose and get it out, he will then stick his whole face in the tent. And then if you allow that, he'll stick his whole neck in the tent. And if you allow that, he'll stick his shoulders in the tent. And then before you know it, you have a whole fucking camel in your tent. And he won't leave. And you have to drag him out, and then he'll start the whole process over again. This is what they're doing with environmentalism. The minute somebody says, hey, let's put some solar panels on the White House, they bop them in the nose and say, no, you can't do that. And it's killing us all. It's killing people with heat waves. It's killing everybody. It's killing the entire planet. We are all going to die through climate change. The amount of people that will die from climate change is in the billions, because a handful of rich people don't want to build solar panels. They make a lot of money selling the oil, and that's the way they're going to fucking keep it until everyone dies, and they don't care about you. They don't care how much trouble they cause. They don't care how much global climate change happens. And the Republicans are happy to serve them because some of that money trickles down to them. Not you. No, not you. That oil money does not trickle down to you. It trickles down to them. And they get to keep it. So the billionaires are paying the millionaires to lie to you. That is the state of the world. I just saw this one just come up out of nowhere. Grazing sheep on solar farms are having a major effect on farmer incomes. So farmers put the solar panels up, produce electricity, get money from that, and to keep the land in good repair, they put sheep around it, and then the sheep eat the grass and shit. So now you're a sheep farmer who's making way more fucking money, and you're making the world a better place, and you're making sheep, which produce wool and goods that you can sell, and you can eat them. This is amazing. Why the fuck aren't we putting shit like this to work in America? Why aren't we doing smart, clever, intelligent little things to make the world a better place? It's because oil companies run the world. They run the world. This does not help an oil company make money, so it will not be done. There will be no one pushing for something like this to happen, because it doesn't turn a profit for Exxon, because it doesn't turn a profit for BP. This does not turn a profit for Raytheon or Lockheed Martin, so they don't want it. They don't like it. This is some sort of competition to them. So they will shoot it down. They will insult anybody who thinks that this is a good idea. They will shit on anyone who says that we should stop just stop oil. That's the only thing we have to do, is wean ourselves off of that shit. And we're going to run out anyway. At some point, the shit will run out. Why not start preparing for it now? Well, because they need to maximize profit. The profit-seeking motive has gone way overboard in America. The only things that are done are the things that are maximally profitable, which means producing nothing, producing only hype, and building and crypto coins. You know, crypto coins don't cost anything. You don't have to make them. You just fucking invent that dumb shit, and then you hype it up, and then you convince a bunch of dipshits to pay into it, and then once there's a bunch of dipshits in there, you sell it and fucking make a profit. That's the only economy that exists anymore. That is the grift economy. There is nothing being produced anymore. Everything is 10 times more expensive than it used to be because nobody's making stuff. Nobody's actually turning raw materials into products, because it's only, if you're successful, a small percentage of profit. And that's not the way to maximize profit. The way to maximize profit is to gamble on the fucking stock market, gamble on crypto coins, and dupe people on prediction markets. That's how you maximize your profit. And if you're not doing that, you're a rube. You're an idiot. You're doing 18th century fucking economics. Anyway, I'd like to ramble about, what's it called? Capitalism a lot. So I'm just rambling now about capitalism. I didn't prepare a whole lot of stuff for today because I've been busy all week. But what we can look at and what we can talk about, what I put in the title, is stuff about Graham Platner. So this is the adult conversation thing I was talking about earlier. Let's see where we are. Okay. So, Graham Platner, you've heard of him. You've seen him. You know the controversies. He was credibly accused of rape last week, and some of the details. And he is now claiming that he is going to he's said that he's going to suspend his campaign. But there's a deadline being Monday. That's 2 days from now, from the time I'm recording this. Today is Saturday. By Monday, he has to file the paperwork. If he doesn't, no one can force him to file that paperwork. If he doesn't file that paperwork, he will still be on the ballot and he will still be the nominee. There's some people worrying, why is he waiting to the last minute? Is he just laying low? Is he just hiding out until that deadline? And then he'll just be like, whoops, got stuck in traffic behind a moose. Couldn't file the paperwork on time. Guess I'm still the nominee. That is possible. Is he going to do that? I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know. It's still up in the air. We won't know until Monday afternoon, Monday evening, whether or not he filed that paperwork. If he doesn't, he is still the nominee, and the entire Democrats machine will work against him, and I think he will lose. I think he will lose if he doesn't drop out at this point, because everybody on the left is going to scream at him. Everybody in the Dems are going to scream at him. All the Republicans are going to scream at him, and he will not get the most votes. He won't. Susan Collins will run away with it. She will claim that he is a rapist, and she will say that he is a terrible person. She will say that he tricked his people into voting for him, and then the big surprise, the big allegations are completely true, and she will bring so many people. She will show the Democrats shitting on him as her attack ads. She doesn't have to attack him. The Democrats will do it for her. That's what will happen.
Republican plant? Tinfoil?
No, I don't think so. That was a thing that we could discuss. Folks, the Platner campaign entirely was always a plan by the Republicans. They knew that he was a bad guy. He pretended to be one of them. He looks like one and he acts like one, so they just pretended to be a leftist for a few minutes, and then they knew this stuff was going to come out. I don't think so. If he were a Republican plant, if he were if the Republicans had this information and were going to drop it on him, it wouldn't have been while the primary is still going. If he drops out Monday, the Democrats can still replace him. If you wanted to maximize the damage, you would not drop it last week. You would drop it this coming October. It's called the October surprise. The term October surprise is when you save the big old Kamehameha blast that will harm them the most. You save that for October. You save that for the time. The FBI Hillary butter emails investigation was from James Comey in October. He went onto the TV and he said, listen, we have to investigate her for the email thing. It has to be done. And I'm telling you now so that you know when you go to vote. I am investigating her. And then they finished the investigation. They're like, oh, no, she didn't do anything wrong. That's fine. She fucking didn't. No, she didn't commit any crimes. I just had to tell you we were investigating her. But that didn't happen until after she had lost. So maximum pain to the Democrats would be dropping this in October when they cannot replace him, when they cannot swap Platner for someone else, which is probably what they're going to do, which is why you have primaries to begin with, is you look at them, you see how well they do, they tell you what they want, they tell you what they think, then the people investigate them, and then they get vetted, and the people in the back, the people go through their history and everything they've done in the past and find all their horrible little flags. And then you look at those red flags and you identify and you weigh and measure how bad that red flag is versus the benefit that they're promising to bring to the government. That's the normal state of politics. That's normal. So I don't think this was a Republican operative that dropped this bomb. Maximum damage would have been October. If the news dropped on the 14th of July, maybe it was a Republican op. But honestly, right now, I do not think that the Republicans did this. I do not think that this is some sort of skeezy plan from the Republicans to make him look like shit. They would have waited a little bit on that. They would, and now they can't. And when we couldn't have replaced him, so. The liberals, I don't know if you go on Blue Sky. You shouldn't. You could follow me on Blue Sky. I have 300 followers. Oh my God, on the Blue Sky now because I'm such a cool guy. But they're having a time. Blue Sky's filled with liberals. I know this. It's also filled with leftists. I know that, and they're all having they're all being totally normal about it. That's a lie. The liberal type people are screaming about how they always knew this was going to happen and they could just smell rapist the minute they saw him. The minute they saw him, they were like, oh, he can't be trusted. He's a man. He's a rapist. And they over-exaggerated the earlier flags that were red flags. I agree. Red flags don't mean you stop. Red flags mean, hey, be careful. Be cautious. Look at what you're voting for. They said that they should have dumped him. We should have dumped him months ago, and they all knew it was going to happen. They all knew something else was going to happen. That's 2020 past vision. That's everything behind you. You see in 2020 vision. That's nonsense. Maybe this didn't drop. Maybe this didn't happen. It probably did happen, but they couldn't have known ahead of time. Predicting things is hard, especially the future. So, but the left, some of the people on the left are still defending him. I don't want to defend him. I will explain why I did up till last week. And I think he should drop out. We shouldn't let him represent the left anymore. He can still vote. He's not going to go to jail for the thing he did unless the woman involved starts pressing charges, but I don't think she will. So he just leaves politics. Leave. Go. Drop out. Become a normal citizen, and we'll stop talking about you. We'll stop thinking about you. Don't run for anything else, and we'll never bother you again. Except as to point at what went wrong and stuff like that. He'll be a lesson to the people, and the Dems will point at him forever, saying, "Yeah, you can't let big, strong, burly men run your party and stuff like that. But I want to talk about what happened, how the left is going crazy defending him, and then how the Dems are going crazy attacking him. It doesn't help. And what his actual appeal was. There was an appeal to him, and I recognize that. I did a video. It was one of my best videos recently about whether or not we should pay attention to him. Are we rolling the dice with him? That's what I think I named it. Let me see if I can find it, and we'll look at the comments that everybody put in there. Those political stream. I wonder if I have to look myself up because I suck. I'm not even on the searchable things, man. I can't even search myself. Yeah, that's how much YouTube hates me. It's really hard. I have to type in literally exactly the political right wing Republic. Okay. Yes, that was Waldo. Thank you. Look, there I am. Look at that handsome son of a bitch. So yeah, there I am talking about him, stuff like that. And are we rolling the dice with Platner? And let's look at the comments. From the commenter, we roll the dice, every single politician. We've been losing that role with our entire political establishment for about 30 years. I rolled the dice with Mamdani in New York City, and I'm happy with the results. Platner is not risk-free, but it is absurd how many people are treating this as a one-sided risk while continuing to vote for the same old politicians as much more worse odds. So yeah, there is a risk for him, but it could turn out well. Graham Platner is about to become the best U.S. senator in our lifetimes. He's an organizer who actually wants to use power. This person, I'm sorry, we have to drop him. If the sexism wasn't a problem with him, and if this weren't such a credible allegation, I agree with you. He could be a good senator, but we can't allow him now. Count me in on Graham Platner. He's a younger version of the Bernie Sanders and is who this country needs to stop our current oligarchy. I agree, but now he's done some inexcusable crimes. Corrupted government from our current convention to autocratic government from democracy. Yeah. Take a risk, ? He's absolutely amazing. Democrats lose because they pander to a center that doesn't really exist. And I have said exactly those types of words that this commenter is talking about, but we can't continue to support him. So he was a risk. We did roll the dice. And this is one of my best videos. I got 1.5 thousand views on that video, and it was very good, and I was very happy with it. But the problems are that we can't forgive him. So let's look at what this person wrote. What did we write?
Are you a Trump supporter, may I ask?
Absolutely not. G-Face, 5K. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. First time chatting. I'm not. I think he is the worst human being that America has ever produced. The amount of lies he tells in a single sentence is amazing. The way he packs them in there. Very much anti-Trump. If I were to make a list of everybody that I would vote for, he would be at the bottom. I would vote for regular Republicans before him too. I would vote for John McCain over Donald Trump. I would vote if the race was John McCain versus Donald Trump, I would vote for McCain. If it were Mitt Romney versus Donald Trump, I would vote for Mitt Romney. I didn't have to worry about that. I have a very simple voting strategy. Very simple. During the primary, you vote for the person furthest to the left. During the general, you vote for the person furthest to the left. It's very simple. Was Kamala, she didn't have a primary, was Joe Biden the furthest person in the left during his primary?
I'd vote for a piece of wood before I'd vote for Trump.
Yeah, it would do less damage. Was Hillary the furthest person to the left in the primary? No. But when she got to the general, she was the furthest person to the left versus Donald Trump, so I voted for her. When the general happened for Kamala versus Trump, Kamala's further to the left than him. She's not a raging leftist the way I am. She's not a SOCDEM. She's not one of the DSA members, but she is further to the left of Donald Trump. So I would vote for her. and did. Or live on stream, because I used to get to vote by mail. Donnie might be taking that away from me. We're not entirely sure. I suspect that I will still get my my mail-in ballot, and I will be glad to fill it in here on stream again. I put it on my desk here and I just fill it out. It's a good time. And so that's the strategy that I have, and it works every time. I think it doesn't win every time, but it works for me. During the primaries, you vote left, the furthest left-leaning person, and if they win the primary, great. If they don't, somebody else did. And then during the general, you vote for the person furthest to the left. And that works for me as well. Most of the local races and stuff like that, which I do vote for.
I am moving to America. Should I be worried? Sorry for asking.
No. Well, America's a complicated place. It depends on what state you're living in and whether or not you are a minority of some kind. If you've got dark skin, there's a lot of places in America that will not like you. If you are a woman, there's a lot of places in America that won't respect you. If you are a trans person, there's a lot of places in America that will not accept you. So if you look like me, if you're a straight white man, you get to live anywhere you want. I know that's a privilege that most people don't get, and I would rather that not be the truth, and I would fight to keep us in a better state where everybody gets treated equally. But there's a lot of people in America who don't want to treat people equally. Philip says, lol, I was in a New Yorker once and voted for Hillary for Senate. Yeah, and she would have been the left-leaning candidate versus a Republican in the Senate, only slightly. I recognize that when she was a senator, she was still a neolib, which is dangerous, and they have their own problems. The neolibs, they have their own problems. I recognize that. They're not really democratic. When she was the senator for New York, I suspect that every decision she made was to make the New York Stock Exchange better.
I am moving
stronger.
to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is a good city. Yeah, cities are good and filled with lots of people. You'll be fine in Philadelphia. The Republicans hate cities. The MAGA voters hate cities. They hate big cities. I've never personally been to Philly, but it is a big city. It has culture. It has a diverse amount of people. So whoever you are, or however you identify, whatever ethnic background you are from, you'll be able to find people that accept you in Philly. If you're moving to a very small town in Idaho, you'd have a lot more trouble. So what are we thinking about? Okay, let's read this about
Thank
Platner.
you for following gface_5K.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
G-Face, you just turned a frog gay. I'm proud of you. I'm happy with your decision to turn that frog gay. You did it, and I'm proud of you. You are now a frog sexuality engineer. Good job. Thank you for the follow. It means a lot for a tiny little stream like me. That's 96 followers. Oh my God. You're number 96, G-Face. We're almost to 100. Very soon, maybe. So, this is written by Catherine Alejandra Cross. Platner must go. Democrats made the devil's bargain with Graham Platner. The adversary has come to collect. The devil's bargain? Exaggerate much? I think she's exaggerating a little bit here. This is a Democrat who it's from liberal currents, so she's a liberal, you know. And she says it's the devil's bargain. Not really. I think she's exaggerating a little bit. She reads, by now, we should all be aware of the horrifying rape allegation made against Maine's U.S. Senate candidate, Graham Platner, made by a woman who had already gone on record to accuse him of unsettling and violent behavior. And just minutes before I sat down to write these words, yet another story about Graham Platner's troubling history and violent misogyny dropped from another of his previous accusers who alleged that he frequently non-consensually removed condoms during sex. This, too, was a form of rape. The latest allegations, extensively corroborated by the accuser's friends and loved ones, and contemporaneous texts and documents, come from an earlier round of revelations that showed Platner as a man with a history of aggression, violence, and entitlement towards women stretching back over a decade and unnervingly close to the present. The most recent rape allegations dates back to 2021. He also had the totem comp tattoo, which should have disqualified him from becoming one of the country's 100 most powerful people. And up until these latest allegations, I saw it as a red flag. I recognize that tattoo is a red flag. Now, we did many times ask him about it. He explained it, and then he got it covered. Is he just stupid? Probably. Did he not recognize that? Probably. I accept that as a valid excuse. You don't get to valid excuse sexual assault. You don't. If you were doing that when you were younger, you don't understand rights of other people. You do not understand the bodily autonomy that you're taking away from a person. And that means you can't be trusted with higher level decision making. And that's the way I look at it. If he was willing to do those things, he is not acceptable for higher level decision making. So what do we have here? What do we read? Well, let's keep reading. His totem comp tattoo was a thing that should have disqualified him. And this is what the liberals are going to be saying. This is what the Democrats are going to be saying. They always knew he was unacceptable. They always knew he was a bad guy. They knew it from the minute they saw him. They smelled him a mile away. And you're an idiot for supporting him after the tattoo incident, after the sexting incident. You know, you're an idiot and you weren't listening. I was listening. I think my viewers were listening. I think the people who commented on my YouTube channel about how they still accept him were listening. They just chose a different outcome. You can listen to someone's argument and still disagree with it. You can listen to someone's ideas and still tell them that they're wrong. That doesn't mean you're not listening. It means that you disagree. Phil, it's like a Nightmare Wizard of Oz where we put all of our faith in the straw man and he turned out to be an arsonist. I know, it is. And that's the worst part, is that he fooled us. Damn him for what he did. Damn the media for not finding it sooner. Damn the Democrats for not vetting him properly. Damn the Republicans for putting us in a position where we have to do the calculus, where we have to do the complicated math of, is it okay to vote for the guy who used to have a totem comp tattoo and he's promising left-wing solutions tomorrow? The utilitarian calculus that we had to do was very difficult, and damn the Republicans for putting us in that position. Damn Donald Trump for putting us in a position where if we do not win the Senate in 6 months, the world might end. That's a shit position to be in. If you think, perhaps, that climate change is real and we're all suffering for it and billions will die if we don't fix something soon, you don't get the choice of perfect politicians. Is Graham Platner perfect? No. Is he acceptable? No. Before these latest allegations, he was imperfect and possibly going to help us win. But now he can't. Now we have to go on a search for someone else. He wasn't good, but he wasn't perfect, and that calculus has to be weighed by every one of us all the time. I'll get back into that calculus here in a bit. Let's read a little bit more from what Catherine says here. In the wake of these rape allegations, it is abundantly clear that the man cannot represent himself, let alone the state of Maine. And I agree with her there. Nor help the Democrat Party recover its spirit of reconstruction that our nation so desperately requires. Such a spirit is necessary, pluralist, necessarily liberal in the best sense of inclusion, equality, shared dignity. He must withdraw from the Senate race and allow the Democratic Party of Maine to determine a path forward without him. And I agree with that. Platner and his bunker mates, again, bunker mates. So if you supported him in the past, the liberals are mad at you for not knowing the future. Huddling amidst the ruins of his campaign, are now brazenly demanding to have a say in who might replace him on the ticket. According to some reports, he should have none. according to some reports. He should have none. His entire campaign has been defined by his entitlement to unearned honors. What? Come on. Surrounded by a chorus of enablers talking about redemption and second chances. If you don't accept the idea that someone can change, then the only people you'll ever get are perfect people, and there are no perfect people. Liberals are being fucking over-exaggerating the harm and over-exaggerating the red flags and over-exaggerating. And I think Catherine here is over-exaggerating again. And then, yes, and then over-exaggerating on the people who supported him. Bunker mates. Just suggesting that we're bad people for wanting him to have won. Second chances. Some people make mistakes and want second chances. I didn't do anything like that. I haven't. There are no allegations coming out against me, I promise. But I supported George W. Bush because he was from Texas, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was a right-wing type person. I grew up in the South. I grew up as a conservative. I was raised as one, and so I thought they were good ideas. I used to be a religious person. I used to be a Christian. Ugh. And now I don't like any of those things. I feel bad about who I was back then, but I have gotten better. I defended George W. Bush in his actions. I thought it was a good idea to go into Afghanistan. By the time Iraq rolled around, I was like, wait a minute, what are we doing there? Why are we doing this whole Afghanistan thing? I felt feelings about 9/11 and going after Osama bin Laden. I felt feelings of pride that the governor of Texas, George W. Bush, was going to be the president. That made me feel good as a Texan. But I got better. As a state of civil war hero Joshua Chamberlain and a novelist Stephen King. Yeah. People can change. That doesn't Maine have one Dem person who was not a fascist rapist? Yeah, maybe. I hope so. We could possibly find one if we try.
I supported Bush too.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like 12 and they made us watch 9/11 happen live.
Yeah, I was 18 at the time. And so I supported those things. And as I learned, as I became educated, as I found out what they were actually doing and what their actual plans were, I turned against them. I said, this is not the way I like it. This is not what I want. This is not the things that I support. And I slowly changed. And then as I got even smarter, I moved from anti-Bush to Democrat to like a leftist, because I think the Democrats also have issues. They suck sometimes. Must have one decent Dem prospect. They did, Phil. I'm going to have to find his name, but he was going to run, and then Chuck Schumer told him not to, and then he didn't. So damn the Democrats for that. What was his name? I'm going to Google that real quick. Shit. I forgot his name because I'd never heard of him before. But I was reading about him because he wanted Janet Mills, who was going to lose. Shit. I've lost his name. Shit. I'll have to find it. This is going to... Editor Waldo, cut all this out. But there was somebody else who was going to run. Chuck Schumer told him not to, so he didn't. Because Chuck Schumer wanted Mills to run. And that's the thing about Democrats. They only respect age and time in the party. That's the number one thing that Democrats respect above anything else, above how effective you are, how many votes you get, above how much money you've brought in, who's been here the longest. They get the first choice. They are the people who will get the best job offers. And it's fucking weird. I don't like that. That's the way Chuck Schumer wants to play the game. He wants to play the seniority game. Who's senior, who's been here the most, they get the first shot. And he tried to get Mills. He told somebody else, a younger man, to not run. And then he was going to put in Mills. And that younger man respected him because he's a Democrat, and that's how the Democrats play the game. And so he knows that someday Mills will be in charge, and then he will get respect from her because he's been there the longest. Madness, insanity. Run the people who are going to win. That's what you should be doing, Democrats. Damn the Democrats for not running candidates who are going to win, but instead running the candidate who's been there the longest. Anyway, let's keep reading. Keep reading. And I also watched his apologies, and he did not apologize. And he's still saying that it's not a thing that happened, but he didn't put it out in a way that makes it seem like he's trying to apologize for it or anything like that, So also, that makes it seem a little bit more true, maybe. He must go, and he must go now. But it is not merely because he allegedly committed these crimes. It's because the entire mythology built up around him represents a danger to the small d democratic movement. What? More of that exaggeration. Liberals being crazy about this. We will not defeat fascism by propping up the men who act as its mercenaries and collect their payment in entitlement over the lives and bodies of others. So again, this is a liberal being angry that he served in the military. I'll explain why that's a dumb thing to do later, if you don't already know. We need a diverse coalition. It will be messy, conflicted, and made of imperfect people with imperfect histories or imperfect politics. But there must, in the final analysis, be a line drawn on who we will give power to. We can welcome the vote of Graham Platner, the citizen, in the privacy of the ballot box, without arguing he is entitled to become one of the world's most powerful lawmakers, the nation of some 340 million people. We can surely do better. He wasn't entitled to it. Never did he say he was entitled. He won a popularity contest. There is no entitlement here. He won the popularity contest. He did. He won the primary. That wasn't an entitlement. If he walked up and said, I am a straight white man and I deserve to be the nominee, and then the party chose him, sort of like they did with Kamala, then that would be entitlement. If anybody was entitled to, it was Kamala. She did not win a primary. She lost a primary to Joe Biden. She became his vice president, and then they lied to us about Biden's mental health until it was too late to do a primary, and then they gave it to her. The party insiders gave it to her. She was entitled to that. As the vice president, she would have been entitled to become the president if he died. He didn't die. They simply chose someone else without your input. Entitlement. The liberals do it too. So don't hit me with that shit. He won a primary. He was not entitled. That's liberal spin. Let's see. Last month I wrote at great length about Platner's defenders and why his vibe was so attractive to them. I might read that later. Not just in spite of his alleged behavior, but often because of it. No. Nonsense. Horse shit. None of us who supported him before last week loved him because of his red flags. That's insane. Nobody saw the totem conf tattoo and was like, woo, yeah, secret crypto Nazi. I literally fucking put out a video saying, are we making a mistake on this? The reactions of New York Times report on him were, to say the least, astonishing. The New York Times is shit. Anybody in the mainstream media is shit. So everyone in the mainstream media has an agenda and works for some fucking direction. I work for leftism. I'm telling you that for a fact. I'm putting this out to try and convince you to be more leftist. I really am. And I'll be honest about that. The New York Times, anybody who writes for the New York Times, has an agenda, but they won't tell you what it is. You have to ferret that shit out. Because they're crooked. So all of mainstream media does that. When we finally went to press with the piece, Platner's victory in the main Democrat primaries was a rout. And so victory, he was not entitled. Even you say that he won. And even as I was writing it, it looked like it would become a coronation. As furious as I was that the man had come so far, that he had earned a chorus of enablers from across the left of center spectrum, I was resigned to the fact that the contest was essentially over at this point. We had no choice. It was him or Collins. Toward the end of the long essay where I slated Platner and his loudest extremely online supporters. Extremely online supporters. You know who's screaming and screeching about him on Blue Sky right now? Extremely online people. I said that we'd been forced into the dismal hope that Platner would at last, or at least redeem himself, and could, if nothing else, vote the right way in the Senate in a way Susan Collins or any Republican never would. And that is the trade-off that we all have to make. Does he have red flags? Yes. Is he going to vote right-wing the way Susan Collins would? Probably not. Most likely not. I stand by calling Collins a vote for concentration camps. I agree with the writer right now. I agree. Collins is a vote for concentration camps. But the writer goes on, but I was wrong to foreclose other options beside Platner. That was written in a despairing compromise unworthy of our times. And so I should correct that by saying what I should have said then. What I should have said then, this moment that we are faced with, one where Platner stands credibly accused of rape by an ex-girlfriend, was inevitable. Inevitable. You couldn't have known this was going to happen. That's that foresight fucking thing. Everything is obvious when we look at it in the past. We needed to find an alternative because the choice would be made for us. Lo and behold, here we are. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We were never going to get to election day 26 with this man's reputation intact. I felt that in my bones, and yet I hesitated to say so publicly. Felt, again, feelings, y'all. You didn't know that this accusation was dropped. You felt that it would. All predictions are feelings. All politics are based on feelings. I keep saying it, left, right, and center. All politics are based on feelings. Always have been, always will be. So if you feel that this accusation will come up...
FR people have to be extremely online to keep up with the barrage of nonsense that is U.S. politics.
Exactly correct. Anybody who disagrees with you, you can just say, they're extremely online. You don't have to listen to them. His supporters are extremely online. The people who saw the red flag and dismissed it, they're extremely online. Dirtbag left, and no, the people who are voting for him in those primaries are from Maine. Maine is cold Florida. I recognize that. Some of them are shitty people. Some of them are good people. Some of them are just tired of all the bullshit that all the other Democrats put them through. Cold Florida. Just think about Maine as cold Florida, and you'll start to kind of understand. They're not extremely online people. They heard what he had to say and liked it. Dems, for the love of God, listen to what the people say and then tell them what they want to hear and promise to do the things they want. You'll fucking win elections. That's what Mamdani did, and that's how he won. That's what Platner did, and that's how he won that primary. He heard what the people wanted and then tried to promise to give it to them. This middle-of-the-road Chuck Schumer, Kamala horseshit, who have campaigns built by... what's the word? Not capitalist, the people who do all the polls. All the people who do the pollsters and the... shit, I should have wrote it down. I get on a roll because I'm just ad-libbing all this shit. In case you didn't know, Editor Waldo's going to cut out this flub, but I just make most of this shit up off the top of my head. Not campaigners. There's a word I'm forgetting. Shit. Consultants. Consultants. This Kamala consultant-driven Democrat Party will not win elections. It can't win elections. If you go to a millionaire who reads polls and tells you what the people want, you're putting a step in between you and the people, and then you vote on these, and then you run on these sterile, inhuman, detached ideas of a 1% increase to taxes or a means-tested tax rebate for first-time home buyers of color. Nobody fucking votes for that. Nobody's demanding that. Nobody. Does it win with the consultants? Yes. Does it win with the market? Yes. Does it win with the stock market? Yes, because you're doing fucking nothing. If you are actually doing politics, you will piss someone off. If you are actually doing real politics, somebody's going to be mad at you. Somebody. And maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're fascist. Maybe they're hateful. Maybe they're online racist who don't like what you're saying. So you're going to piss someone off. If you are not pissing someone off, you are not doing politics. You're not. You're just doing status quo, which is the accusation I throw at most Democrats, most liberals. Standing still, doing nothing is not a political stance. It's the opposite. If you have any political stance, you will aggravate somebody. I get enough hate comments to know. And actual politicians get hate comments. Donald Trump is doing politics, and I hate him for his stance and the words he uses and the things he pushes. I hate that shit. And then I yell at him and call him names. Graham Platner was doing politics, and the right hated it. We have now abandoned him because he is not capable of making higher level decisions, and that's acceptable. Is there somebody else? Are we going to get a mediocre milquetoast Dem? Probably. That's probably what we're going to get, but we'll get to that towards the end. Let's keep reading. I believed this because it was abundantly clear that Platner was not vetted. Again, believe, felt, prediction. I don't respect your feelings. I know that all politics are based on them, but your feelings are how you got to your position, but your belief about the future is a belief that I just disagreed with, and that's okay. You can disagree with someone's belief about the future. You can disagree with someone's prediction of the future, and that's not disrespectful. I felt that it was okay to proceed with him, and I was wrong. And now that I've gotten more information, new information has popped up, I have changed my current stance. That is acceptable. That's respectable. Honestly, that's the way the scientific process works. If you think that the earth is flat and then you see a bunch of evidence proving that it's not, you should change your stance. If you think that climate change is not caused by human actions and the pollution that we're pumping into the thing, someone will show you some evidence and you should change your stance. That's intelligence. So I thought that Graham Platner was good. Then I heard some accusations and I said, okay, well, those aren't as bad. And maybe he could still be okay. Are we rolling the dice? And so I asked the question and I made a whole damn video about, are we taking a chance? And now more information has popped up, and now I don't support him. And I do not hope he wins. I hope he does actually bow out on Monday. But you don't have to tear everybody down with it. You don't have to throw all of the people who were here and excited for him under the bus and murder them all and cancel them all and throw them all out of the party. That's going a bit too far. In the wake of a thumping primary victory, it felt like we were out of options for replacing Platner. Because you knew ahead of time, that was your guess. You guessed. But we have them now. A narrow window of chance to replace a man that even the coldest analysis possible already seemed to be faltering precisely because of the very working class voter he was supposed to reach. We're finding him to be morally questionable. So again, this is about working class voters and how the Dems and the liberals disrespect people who look like this. The Dems do not respect these people. They assume that anybody who looks like this is MAGA and is a toxic masculine rapist. In the end, the devil cheated the Democrats out of his end of the bargain. Platner is not even a working class whisperer he presented himself as, and all they've done is collectively debase themselves with indulgent apologia for a violent misogynist. Fucking hindsight is 20/20. Get out of here with that shit. Some of the erstwhile defenders have, at last, given up the fight. Leftist journalist Ryan Grimm has admitted it's not when, but if Platner drops out. But others are determined to be Platner's defender. Ken Klippenstein, who I respect. I think Ken Klippenstein is the last fucking reporter we have in the country, has put out a last-ditch, characteristically tasteless apologia for his previous defense of Platner. From hell's heart, he must stab at the many women, the evil HR ladies he thinks are running the left-wing politics. Again, exaggerating, go and fuck. Anybody who defended him is now a terrible person who needs to be canceled. This is the cancel culture that the Republicans bitch about and scream about. If you don't completely agree with every single thing that the Democrats say, you're a terrible person. You need to be chased out of the party. And both sides are being crazy about this. If you're a left-leaning person and you're still defending Platner right now, you're wrong. If you're a Democrat condemning anybody who ever liked him, you're wrong. Both sides can be wrong. And that's why they're both being fucking extreme about this shit. There are Dems, and maybe even this author, who want your ass to never speak out again. They want me to shut the fuck up. They want you to shut the fuck up for supporting him ever. Because you were wrong in your assumption and your guesses. Your predictions of the future turned out not to be correct. And you now need to shut the fuck up forever and make way for the boring, bland, milquetoast, plain graham cracker with a glass of water Democrat who's going to do nothing. Because doing stuff makes people mad. And you're not allowed to make people mad in politics. You're only allowed to, in Democrat politics, you're not allowed to make people mad. You only must accept nothingness. You must accept centrism, or else you're going to get in trouble and get canceled. Let's see. Let's keep reading. It is a stark reminder of the mentality that will stalk us long after Platner is gone. So let's take an unserious argument a little seriously before condemning the man who would be senator to the life of private atonement he deserves. Klippenstein seems to be distracting himself from Platner while also criticizing several commenters for their apologies and their previous support, saying it's unclear to me what exactly they've been apologizing for, other than not being clairvoyants, able to foresee this week's accusations before it happened. Yeah, so that's what Klippenstein's saying. We can't predict what was going to happen, so we did the best we could, which is what I have been saying. As I noted earlier, this was eminently predictable. There's no such thing as eminently predictable. Fuck off. I'm sorry. Catherine Alejandra Cross. I'm sorry. There's no such thing as eminently predictable. That's insane. The New York Times report from less than a month ago pointed to the very real possibility that assault and rape were lurking behind the allegations of aggression, physical violence, and entitlement, especially given the man's history of misogynistic statements online. Hindsight is 2020, and the Democrats have always had hindsight being 2020, and they demand that you respect it. I don't. Sorry. Klippenstein tries to defend this as merely lesser flaws. They were, and argues that feminist critics like myself yearn for smooth groin, squeaky clean, McKinsey consultant politicians. And I think Klippenstein's right here. He uses the word smooth groin, being squeaky clean, McKinsey consultant politicians. And I think that's what the Democrats want. If you are a liberal, if you are a Democrat, you have to be perfect. You have to be squeaky clean. You have to be McKinsey consultant politicians who do nothing, say nothing, accomplish nothing, aggravate no one. And at that point, you're not doing politics anymore. You're doing status quoism. You're just running to, that sounds like entitlement to me. If you worked, I think Pete Buttigieg is probably the closest thing you could point to in this, with this description. Smooth groin, squeaky clean, McKinsey consultant politicians. I think that's a jab, and they're not jabbing at Pete Buttigieg, but I think that is who best we could describe. If you were looking for who is that person, it's Pete Buttigieg. He worked for McKinsey or whatever it was. They don't excite people. They don't get people involved. They don't rally people. They say the right words in the right way on the TV, and then nobody screams bloody murder about them. That's boring. It's boring as shit. I know the politics is supposed to be boring, and it should be boring, but it's not anymore. It's a goddamn blood sport. It's a damn TV show, reality show that needs to be exciting.
Meanwhile, the Republican president is a literal rapist and fraudster. My TDS is showing.
Yes, he is. And that's one of the reasons why we don't want to support Graham Platner, is because we want to be better than them. I know that. That gets fucking TV. The Graham Platner was not getting TV ads until he bucked the system, until he became interesting. Nobody talked about him. Nobody thought about him. Nobody was pushing his ideas until he became fucking interesting. I showed a video of it was a Republican earlier that I'd never heard of, because he's not doing anything interesting. If you just follow the party line, you're not interesting. It was an hour ago in the stream. There was a Republican on the TV arguing with Maria Bartiromo, and I'd never heard of him because he wasn't saying anything insane. Just playing normal, playing it down the middle is safe, and safe doesn't get people excited. If you had the safest car in the world, it wouldn't look cool, would it? I don't know what the safest car in the world is, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look exciting. It's not something you show off to people. You don't go to the safest amusement park in the world. You go to the fun one, which is a little bit of danger. Safe is sitting completely still, drinking lukewarm tea so you don't burn your mouth, and accomplishing nothing, doing nothing, saying nothing controversial. Safe will lose to fascists. Safe candidates will lose to a Republican president who is literally a rapist. Every time. And the Democrats cannot comprehend this. They can't understand it. They think that the people want safe. They don't. They want what they want, and you aren't giving it to them. I think there was one more thing I wanted to look at on this one about morality or something like that. Where was the little bit that I wanted to see? Let's skip to the end here. And of course, it's a Democrat, so they have to write way too much or talk for 2 hours straight. So the author says there are many compromises that we will have to make on the long road back to power. Supporting a man like Platner is not one of them, and I'm okay with that. Our movement must be a broad church, yes, but in order to achieve the Catholic Congress of Democrat foot soldiers, we cannot ask over half our population to bear rulership from a man like Platner. We cannot short-circuit our commitments to pluralism before we have even won. We cannot sow the seeds of the next generation of political reaction. For so many reasons, for his sins, for what we would have to do, the movement for democracy, for who he empowers, Grant Platner must go. And I'm fine with that. He should go. There was one other thing about, here we go. They, being the leftists, desperately want to believe that the burly white man cosplaying as a working class Ron Swanson, a bit rude, crude, and something of a bad boy, is a formula for winning back America. He won the fucking primary. So there's that, because it validates everything they prefer to be true. As I argued last month, when they want to kill the HR lady in their heads and perhaps in their lives, Platner offered blue-tinted ideology, acceptable variation on old misogynistic themes with something for everyone. Anti-Israel leftists, liberals looking for the next charisma god, feminists desperate to get Collins out, DSA types who wanted a big, strong man to take on the Epstein class, and so on. Yes. The author is typing this up in a negative, but I'm like, no, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted a person who would not be milquetoast, boring, same, plain Jane, white bread, boring nothingness, who would offer nothing. I don't care how high your moral purpose is. That's what I was looking for. Moral purpose. Where was that thing? Moral purpose. She used those words. Editor Waldo will cut out all the boring bits. I appreciate everybody who's here, though, by all means. Thanks for coming to the live stream where you get to see Waldo create YouTube videos in real time. We cannot win by becoming MAGA, a loose movement defined by little other than the violent satisfaction of appetites, by the discarding of morality and virtue as mere hypocrisies. I don't care how high your moral purpose is, how 100% correct, moral, perfect, ethical, and equitable your ideology is. It will not be implemented unless you convince a bunch of dumb shits in the middle of the country to vote for it. When we discuss politics, we discuss power. Those two things are inseparable. The author of this article, I have bad news for you and anybody else who's watching right now. You live in a conservative country. America is a conservative country, run, for the most part at the moment, by baby boomer conservatives. The appeal that Graham Platner had was looking and sounding like a conservative. Often this is applied to me as well. I have sat down in bars to talk to people. I was at a airport bar not too long ago, sitting there drinking a beer, having a hamburger with bacon on it, and the guy next to me assumed that I was a Trump supporter and started talking about this and that and how unfair they are to him simply because of the way I look. And sometimes I'm known to talk with a Southern accent. Looking and sounding conservative is what the dumb shits need. In the middle of the country, they need a leader. They are followers. They need a shepherd. And the shepherd has to look like them, or else they won't follow him. And I do say him specifically. Intentionally, I use the pronoun him because the vast majority of our country does not want to follow a woman because they are sexist. The vast majority of America does not want to follow a black man because they are racist. We saw the victory of Obama, followed quickly by a giant racist retaliation, which formed MAGA. In case you don't remember, Donald Trump entered the political arena around 2010 claiming that Obama was born in Kenya because he's a fucking racist and he wanted the racist people to support him. So that's what he did. That's how he did it. Finding the real birth certificate was how Donald Trump entered American politics. He was famous already, and he did the stupid-ass game show, but that's how he jumped into actual politics, by screaming that America's first black president wasn't born in America. And it's all been downhill from there. I assume that if Hillary had a victory, there would have been a similar sexist retaliation. I, personally, will vote for anyone who holds the correct ideas, the left-leaning ideas, promising to vote for left-wing solutions, regardless of their race, their gender, or their sex, or their gender expressions. I would support a blue-haired trans person for president if they were the furthest left-leaning person in the race. Most Americans won't, though. So we have to trick them into progress. Platner had that appeal. He could trick the dipshits into moving left. The right wing in this country is lost, unsalvageable, and at this point, they vote for hatred and cheer for violence. The middle is mostly incoherent, mostly uninformed, and only slightly bigoted. They are the people who hate Obamacare but love the ACA. They are the people who said, get your damn government hands off of my Social Security. Social Security is a government operation. It is government money. They are the people who cheer and understand why Luigi Mangione would kill a health insurance exec. They're very unhappy with the way that the economy is going. They're very unhappy with the way that everything is running right now. We can reach out to them. We could move them left if we have the right people doing the right message. Seeing a guy like Platner saying left-leaning things makes them feel like it's okay for them to say it too. Representation matters is a slogan that minority populations, racial and sexual minorities, have been using for decades. I looked it up here. We go. Representation matters. It is a concept asserting that visible inclusion of diverse groups in media, politics, and leadership validates identities, challenges stereotypes, and drives tangible social and economic benefits. Research indicates that accurate representation increases self-esteem among marginalized youth, improves education and health outcomes, and even boosts market effectiveness by fostering broader consumer connection. If you don't have men who look like this, if you don't have men who look like this saying left-wing things, the men in reality won't accept left-wing ideas. Damn it, liberals. If you want people to move left, you need someone who looks like him saying left-wing things so that they will feel it's acceptable to do so. If every Arab you see on TV is portrayed as a terrorist, that stereotype will be felt in real life. If every black person in a movie is depicted as a gang member, then that stereotype will harm real people. If every left-wing argument is delivered online by a blue-haired NB in Portland with giant gauges in their ears, the dipshits in the conservative states will not feel a sense of belonging, and they will not accept left-wing ideas. Representation matters. The dipshits in the middle of the country, they will look somewhere else for their politics. They will go somewhere else, even if they want those policies to be implemented. There are people in the middle of the country who are dying for some change to the healthcare system, but they can't get on board because they don't feel represented. The right wing represents this guy all day, every day. The right wing puts people up who look like this and tells them that they should agree with him. We need left-leaning men who look like him and sound like him to convince the dipshits in the center of the country to move left, and that it is okay for them to do so. That was his appeal. That was the appeal of Graham Platner. Is he a bad guy? Yes. Is he suitable to run for Senate? No. But if you blame every guy who looks like this and do not let them have a voice and do not represent them, they will not vote for you, and you will never win another election. We will never have another Dem win if you start throwing these people out. That's what the Republicans have been claiming that you're doing anyway. This author isn't canceling every straight white man, but the Republicans are going to take it as such, and they're going to tell you that you're canceling all the straight white men. And then they will convince the straight white men to vote for Donald Trump. You have to make the left and the Democrats acceptable to these people, because they will just choose based on their race, based on their demographic. Demographics are destiny. It's an old stupid Democrat saying. So make it acceptable for people like him to run, and don't generalize and don't put them all in the same fucking box. And if you're on Blue Sky right now canceling people for supporting Graham Platner in the past, you're making this fucking worse. You're making everything worse. If you are canceling people for their previous statements and previous support, like Ken Klippenstein, the last fucking reporter we have, you're not going to win an election ever. The fascists will continue to win. The right wing will continue to win. The center will vote for for fucking J.D. Vance when he comes out with his anti-Israel stance in 2028. And they will win. And they will dominate you. And they will put our dumb asses into camps. Your ass in camp first, and then mine once they eventually find out what I've been saying about them. Then, and it'll be a good time. Maybe, worst case scenario, the Catherine Alejandro Cross can tell me how perfect her ideology is as she and I are digging ditches in the concentration camp. Maybe that could be good. She'll feel morally upstanding for never voting for anybody against her morals, but we'll be in the prison camp digging mass graves. I would rather avoid that. And that is why I supported him to begin with. I have dropped that support since, but in the beginning, I supported him because maybe he'll be less likely to put all the leftists in a camp. But we're headed that way now. And if the Democrats continue to do nothing, if they continue to run boring, bland, uninteresting people, we will end up in camps. Honestly, that's where we're headed. The continued fascist takeover will speed up. The J.D. Vance will run. Trump will run for a third fucking term. During Trump's third term, he will implement free speech law, which means that you're not allowed to criticize him. And if you've ever said anything about him in the past, if you've ever said that he's a lying sack of shit in the past, you are going to go to jail. And he'll call it free speech. And the Republicans will love it. And the people in the center will be fine with it. They won't care. And the left will all suffer and we'll all get put into camps. It'll be fun. Or we could just, accept sometimes not canceling people. So don't cancel me is what I'm saying. Don't cancel me because of my skin color. That's rude. Don't cancel me because I trusted this guy and was let down. I hoped that he would be better, and he wasn't. My hopes were dashed. Don't completely dismantle the entire left. Don't dismantle every single thing that I've ever said because of that. And I won't dismantle you for what I'm thinking is incorrect, an exaggeration here. We'll continue to be good to each other. The left can't splinter. A splintered left is a meme at this point because it's always been that way. The left has always been splintered. It's always been fractured. There's always been left-leaning people who agree with each other on 99% of the issues, but that 1% makes them scream at each other and call them Nazis. It's insane. If we need a coalition with a lot of people, you're going to have to get in bed and be okay with people who supported Graham Platner but then stopped. Or maybe even people who still support him today. I'm sure there is someone who is still telling him not to drop out. And that person is going to have to be accepted into our party. I'm not going to cancel them for continuing to support him because they still think it's acceptable. I'm not going to cancel the people who think it was unacceptable to support him 6 months ago. I'm not going to cancel anybody. Stop canceling each other. Leftists, stop canceling the Democrats. Democrats, stop canceling the leftists. We got to fucking get along. Damn it. And I think that's about all I had to talk about today. Let's see if we've got anything else. The DOJ hit with 12th straight loss in voter roll crusade. So I'm changing subject now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for talking and chatting. I will turn that into a video and then I'll probably post it up on Tuesday. So if you missed any parts or you didn't catch the whole live stream, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch that. What else do we have to look at? Oh, this is one I wanted to read. Rick Wilson, who is, if I remember, a Republican, but I'm not entirely sure I remember. The MAGA election heist is here, and I think he's right. This post brought to you by Crown News Guy. I haven't read all this, so I'm reacting to it with you. Let me tell you a secret about the MAGA movement that isn't a secret at all, because they keep saying it out loud. They know they can't win in a fair fight in November. They've seen the same numbers you have. They've watched the special elections. They've read the internal polling and leaks about the NRCC and NRSC like water through a colander. Midterms with a raving, senile, deeply unpopular president presiding over the economy, held together with a tariff duct AI shock market, hand wavium, and duct tape. And the Iran Forever War are a recipe for electoral slaughterhouse. And every Republican operative with a pulse knows it. I used to be one of them. And see how we don't cancel him for used to being a Republican? I used to be one of them. And I know how the room smells when the numbers go south. And all of the culture war garbage in the world won't fix it. It smells like fear, and fear in the party has exactly one output: cheat harder. So they're not going to run a midterm campaign. They're going to run a midterm operation. There's a difference, and if Democrats don't internalize that difference in the next 90 days, they will get rolled by people who have been planning this since the day in 2024 confetti hit the floor. Start with the June 30th with a red court handed down this thing, and when the red court handed down NRSC versus FEC and did what this court always does when the Republican Party asks nicely, it found a constitutional right to the thing Trump and the MAGA party wanted. 6-3, Kavanaugh writing the coordinated party expenditure limits had stood since the post-Watergate reforms are gone. Political parties can now spend unlimited money in direct coordination with their candidates. So yeah, more money and more politics, says the Supreme Court starting June 30th. So that was only a couple of weeks ago. Most people didn't pay attention because they already kind of do it. So it's not that big of a thing. They've slowly, since Citizens United, made it more and more and more acceptable to spend unlimited money. And we've all known that for a very long time. Kagan spelled out the mechanics in dissent. A donor who could give a candidate $7,000 directly can now route $500,000 through the party to cover the same candidate's bills. And the candidate can solicit exactly that. The quid pro quo pipeline isn't a bug, it's a feature. Yes, the ruling applies to both parties on paper, but you'd have to be a child to think the party of crypto billionaires, Silicon AI Valley barons, private equity goons, sovereign wealth fund adjacent investors, and a president who runs the White House like a concierge desk at a Corruption Inc. isn't going to weaponize this at scale. Democrats can't match dollar for dollar. Watergate built these walls for a reason. The Roberts Courts just finished 50 years of demolition work right on time for a midterm election where MAGA has money, but not much else. So that's going to be a pain in the ass. You can read the rest of this here with Rick Wilson stuff. I think he's right. I think most of this is spot on. ICE is going to hurt us. That's what I've been claiming for a very long time. ICE arrested 10,000 people in 5 days at the end of June, 2,000 arrests a day. Detention intake spiked to 39,000 in a single month. A man named Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was shot dead by ICE agent in Houston this week. Earlier this year in Minneapolis, Alex Petty and Renee Goods murders broke through. American citizens killed by ICE Gestapo, Americans' violent secret police force on American streets. There have been more victims since, and ICE will keep stacking dead Americans because no one will stop them. Say that out loud and notice how your brain tries to file it somewhere manageable to make it sound like something inexplicable. You can't. Stop thinking about this as immigration policy because it isn't one. Deportation policy doesn't require masked agents, doesn't require flooding blue cities with federal muscle, and doesn't require a social media operation that packages the raids like content. The Department of Kick-Ass Videos. I've often called it the Department of Kick-Ass Videos. What it does accomplish is something much older and much darker. It conditions the country to the sight of federal forces deployed against civilians in Democrat cities. And it conditions the agencies themselves to follow orders that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. Every authoritarian project runs this rehearsal. You normalize the presence of the boot before you decide whose throat to crush it with. And where they intend to put it is in key states and districts in the election season. That's what Waldo's been saying. We will see federal agents monitoring polling places in Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit, Phoenix, and Milwaukee. Fraud investigations will just happen to target the local grassroots group and activists in the exact counties Democrats need to run up margins. Emergency declarations from imaginary threats will land like a heavy rain in the days before the election. We'll hear oh-so-serious leaks from Washington about the Iranian Democrat Party axis planning to attack the heartland. That's what Waldo's been talking about. Detentions and intimidation by ICE, DHS, and the constellation of masked and armored enforcers will be for our safety, as lurid warnings about Antifa are blasted on Fox 1,000 times a day. Bill Pulte, the low-wadded Trump loyalist, placing MAGA stooges at the pinnacle of American intelligence, will leak and lie about with obscene vigor. The infrastructure being built on the streets right now is a dual use, and the second use is for November. The third layer is that most Democrats still refuse to take it seriously because it doesn't look like cheating. It still looks like the internet. The MAGA Media and Tech Alliance wasn't just writing checks anymore. It owns platforms. It owns cable networks. It owns the news outlets, including the New York Times. You can't trust anything that you're reading on the mainstream media anymore because they all have an agenda. AI-generated content and industrial-scale synthetic local news sites metastasizing across swing states. Deepfakes timed for the final 72 hours, wherein corrections can't catch the lie, and something subtler, the deliberate poisoning of the AI information wells themselves, so that the tools hundreds of millions of people now use to ask, is this true, have been marinated in garbage. You don't need to stuff a ballot box when you can stuff the reality the voters walk in. In 2016, the stuff was the product of dipshit Macedonian teenagers in a troll farm in St. Petersburg. In 2026, it's vertically integrated influence industry run by the richest men on earth, aligned 100% with the White House, operating the machine at speed. Treating it as a media literacy problem is like treating the artillery barrage as a noise complaint. And absolutely right. He's nailing it. Every bit of this is what Waldo has suggested in the past. So let's skip to the end here. For a recovering Republican strategist who has built this exact message discipline machine you are now up against, and who now spends his life dismantling the disinformation apparatus I helped construct, ground news is not a luxury. And it ends with an ad. I love capitalism. Here's the defense. I read ground news every single morning. God damn it. A crummy commercial? Oh, and then so he's telling you about how Donald Trump is going to ruin the democracy, and the only way he can get the message out is if he includes some capitalism, if he includes a crummy commercial. He's not wrong about his prediction. He's not wrong about what's going to happen, but he can't pay the bills just telling you the fucking truth, man. He can't pay the bills just telling you that shit. Nobody will read it. Nobody will listen to it. At most, he'll get 5 fucking viewers on Twitch. So he has to include a commercial. He has to include ground news is the solution. You need to subscribe to ground news and give them some money. Oh, we're wrecked. We're ruined as a country. Unless somehow a very powerful government reins in the worst excesses of capitalism, we will not make it. The capitalists own and control everything. You can't even say anything without going to one of their fucking platforms. I can't give you this message without accepting YouTube and Twitch's capitalism. I can't. And Rick Wilson, who also knows all the right answers and also says all the same things, can't get you this same fucking message that Waldo's been giving you, but it's much better worded because he's probably been to college and knows how to write. He can't give it to you without including a commercial.
I still blame Reagan.
I blame Reagan too. Most things we can point back to him. He did wreck the government and he kicked in the door and let all the capitalists in because he was terrified of communism, the communist brainworms, the poisonous anti-communist brainworms got into his head and said everything should be on the free market. Everything should be for sale. And now your mind is for sale. The ideas that you hold and want to tell people about can't get out because the only way to get ideas out is through a capitalist device. And the capitalists, if you say a thing that hurts their bottom line, they won't promote you. They won't spread your idea. They won't let anybody push these true facts out because it's not profitable. So that's the misery that we're left with. That's the shithole that we're stuck in. We can't get good things done because it hurts the capitalist's bottom line. We can't save people because that hurts the capitalists' stock prices. We can't make the world a better place because then the market share would go down. The market would rather you die than move down and then have the number go down. If charging you to live and breathe makes the number go up, then they will charge you money to live and breathe. And there's nothing we can do about it. Tell people about it, maybe. Explain to people that capitalism has run amok and is ruining every single thing that we have as a nation. We can't get good stuff anymore. We can't prevent wildfires because there's no money in it. Preventing wildfires takes people working hard to remove brush and remove things and then throw it away and put it into a garbage and move it away. Who's going to pay for that? Nobody. It's not a profit-seeking organization. If you built a business that cleaned the forest floors to prevent wildfires, you wouldn't make any money unless the government paid you to do that. How does the government get its money? Through taxes. And the right wing hates taxes. And the wealthy billionaires refuse to pay taxes.
iViewers Streamboo.com.
There's a robot in my chat right now trying to get people to go to whatever the fuck this is. They're trying to get money out of me. Money, 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 SpongeBob. It's all about the money, my boy. Nothing else matters. I'm glad they showed up right when they did. It solidifies my point, doesn't it? That the only thing that matters is money, and money's the only thing that matters in America. Doesn't matter how true your statements are. Doesn't matter how right you are. Doesn't matter how ideologically pure you are. If you don't have the money, just go fuck yourself. Just go live in obscurity. Doesn't matter how correct you are. If the thing you're doing isn't supported by the financial markets, not just money in general, financial markets. Financialization has destroyed our country. And we cannot solve any of our problems until we deal with that one. Over-financialization is killing us. And we can't make anything better until we get fucking money out of every single goddamn inch of our lives. That's it for me today. I appreciate everyone's here. Thanks for coming in, any of it. And you just told me that ads. I think an ad just ended on my stream. I think an ad just ended. Any of it probably didn't see it because he's a subscriber. But if you're just watching, you got interrupted by capitalism. I'm sorry. I can't even describe to you how poisonous capitalism is without being interrupted by capitalism. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here, Phil. Thanks for being here, any of it. G-Face, thanks for the follow. I appreciate everybody who's here. Thanks very much. I will be busy next week as well. So no stream on Wednesday, but I will be back for Saturday. So it's a whole week. I want to turn the 2 or 3 segments I got on this into videos, put them on the YouTube page. If you want to watch that, you can go on over to the YouTube. Tell me how to make the videos better so that the capitalists will show my videos to people. And then it's really hard because I want to talk and I want to tell you the things and I want to do more. I want to spend more time on this stuff, but I can't because I have to spend more time doing work so I can survive in the capitalist hellscape that I live in. And it's an irony is what it is. I want to spend more time creating stuff. I want to spend more time doing funny, silly things, but I can't because that doesn't pay bills. And so I have to spend all my damn time paying bills. And then I don't have time for creative and intelligent things and telling you the truth. And it's a fucking shit system. So do me a favor, spread my stuff around, not so that I can, so that maybe more people will hear it and more people will know that capitalism is ruining their lives. That's it for me. Thanks for being here. I am going to end it now. Not end everything, but just the stream. I'll be back on Saturday unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me off to the gulag.